Hello, everybody. Welcome to the review of the preliminary final. It is preliminary final week. There are two more games to go this week and next week's grand final, which is absolutely fantastic. We've got a nice review show for you. We've tried to get in contact with we've got in contact with this week's preliminary finalists. Plus, we're also going to have a quick word to the team that made the grand final in Punters Paddock last week. So let's have a quick look at this week's review of the preliminary final. Alright, so it's Sugar Daddies who finished the season first. Let me adjust the camera a little bit. There we go. Sugar Daddies who finished the season first versus Maltese Falcons who finished the season third. Hopefully by the end of this show I can say preliminary properly. But anyway, Sugar Daddies, as we said, finished first. Lost last week to Punters Paddock. Did not even score 300. Their worst score for the year besides the first bye round week. Against Maltese Falcons, who have been struck down by injuries. They are an absolute casualty ward at the moment. And it's not, bit players. It's some of their best players that are out right now. So let's have a look at it. Sugar Daddies projected for 383.2. I've got a feeling they have not adjusted their team at the moment. It's still the same team as last week. They're probably going to make a couple of changes, you would think. However, Sarong may stay there as interchange. It's Maltese Falcons who have had no choice but to make changes this week. With a lot of injuries as mentioned, and they're going to go with Kieran Briggs as their interchange. So let's have a quick look at it. Hogan, who is going to win the Coleman medal this year because Curnow has more than likely done for the season. He's averaging 39.1 as a full forward, and he's absolutely on fire. I think 3 and 4 goals every week the last 3 or 5 weeks. He's averaging 39.1 versus Jai Miss, who without Tracy will be the main focal point up front. So does that mean against the Giants, against Hogan, head to head, is he going to cop the best defender in Sam Taylor? He's averaging 25.5. Next, it's Aaron Norton, who come off injured last week, but is still selected in the side, I believe. They are playing Sunday, though, so those teams aren't finalised just yet. And at the moment, it is 3:49 on Friday, so the team will be finalised about now. It's time to see whether he's still chosen or not. He averages 29.9 as a half forward. We'll look at other options in a minute. Against Nick Dacos, who is half forward, say a pretty good choice, averaging 35 or 36 points as a half forward. He's playing against the Lions tomorrow in the Twilight game. The utility right now, they've got Sam Walsh, who had a very disappointing game last week and only got 66 utility. Against Patrick Cripps, who also didn't have a very good game. A lot of possessions, but they didn't do too much. So both the Carlton boys are in the utility at this stage. Teams may change, once again. They're the very last game on Sunday night against the Eagles. So this game could come down to the very last moments of the round. Tristan Cherry in the ruck, averaging 37.7. He's been getting much higher than that. And the Bulldogs are going with either Rory Lobb, James O'Donnell, or Sam Darcy in the ruck. So you think he will dominate. Biggest question is, do you play Cherry as the ruck, or do you put him in as utility? Because last week we got 130 points as utility. And he plays Western Bulldogs at Marvel Stadium on Sunday, the first game on Sunday. He's against Miki, who also plays on Sunday against the Tigers, so he'll be up against Nankervis. They're the 3 o'clock or 3:20 game on Sunday at the MCG. It may rain, so who knows what that means. But Meek's been in really good form, averaging 39.2, so it does show that his average is a little bit better, but I think Cherry's in better form at the moment. Both midfielders at the moment, we've got Bailey Dale, who's also a Sunday. Look at that, almost everyone's for Sunday. Well, lots of Sunday players. He's also Sunday against North Melbourne versus Tom Green, who's playing Saturday, 1:45 against the Fremantle Dockers. Tom Green has been getting heaps of possessions lately. And you wouldn't think he'll cop a tag, so he'll keep on doing what he's doing. Tim Kelly playing Sunday Twilight as a follower. Got a feeling that might change with Sarong as the interchange. Sarong might come in as utility and Walsh go as follower. Who knows? But Tim Kelly's there at the moment. And Took Miller, first game back from injury, no other choice really, but he's moved straight back in as a follower. Wangani Malira playing Geelong Saturday night at Marvel Stadium, averaging 54.5 against Redmond, who last week would have got 70 or 80 points. I think he had 25 kicks or something. He's not going to do that again, let's be honest. He will not do that again tonight. But he does play tonight. And his average is 47.2, which, as we said, would have been boosted by last week's performance, which was fantastic for him. Matty Rowe's a tackler. I think last week it was 20 contested possessions. Playing the D's, Saturday 1:45 up in the Gold Coast. I believe the weather should be okay. But the Gold Coast Suns are playing for something. They want to get their most wins ever in a season, and they should get the win against Melbourne. And that also says for Davies, who at the moment is his tackler, at 1:45 tackler for Maltese Falcons, also playing the D's because they're from Gold Coast as well. So there we go. Saronga's interchange at the moment, and Briggs also. Briggs is probably there. Well, he's a really good tackler, but obviously with Davis playing at the same time, he's not tackling this game if Davis is going to stay there. But it's probably to see how he goes in the ruck, whether he plays Meek or not. And as we said, not many other options there too for Briggs. And Briggs, I mean, Fremantle's he will be up against Luke Jackson and Reedy or something, so he should dominate the hitouts. To be honest, have a look what else they've got. Will Day's an option. Charlie Dixon up against Adelaide is an option. Draper tonight against Sydney. Larkey against the Bulldogs on Sunday at Marvel, and Josh Noble, and also Callum Wilkie as a halfback. So they're the options they've got. Look at the injuries. Lots of injuries in both sides here towards the end of the season. Over here, Boner against Geelong on Saturday night, and Chris, who to go is out again, so Chris might do all right in the midfield, and he was a pretty good tackler at one stage. Might be an option as a half forward, so. But there we go. Garcia, never going to get a run. Stephen May's out with ribs. McLean as a half forward has been pretty good lately, but will probably be a different story tonight. Ryan Morris is another option for half forward, obviously, and obviously Water is out with that one there. So that's the teams there. What we might do is let's see if we can contact Maltese Falcons. To see if they have anything to say and if they want to comment on this week's game. Have a quick interview with Maltese Falcons. Let's try again. That wasn't great. Maybe we can try Sugar. See if Sugar wants to talk about this week's game. I did try to call him last week, and he did call me back about 5:30, and I said I'm going to give you a call next week. Let's talk about it. And he said no worries, let's do it. So definitely call Sugar because we disappointed after last week's performance. So let's see how Sugar wants to have a chat. Nah. This isn't going good. Must be still be upset about last week's performance. See, this is live television for you kids. All right, so what we're going to do is I've got a treat for everyone. I've got some commentary to have a discussion about this week's game and also to discuss next week's grand final. This man has got through to the grand final, which is fantastic for him. His second grand final. He'd be looking for his first ever win. So let's have a chat to the manager of Punters Paddock, Coltrane. Punters Paddock, manager Coltrane, how are you doing?
Pretty good, mate. I'm not sure what to do with myself. I might just go up to Queensland for the week, or just have that mental break. I don't think I've ever been straight through to a grand final, so it's a little bit of a surreal feeling this week. I've got a feeling the other grand final I had to do it the journeyman's way through the prelim, so feeling a bit different.
Well, tell us about it, because last week you writ yourself off. You said you had no chance. You said all the other three teams left in the competition were better than you, and you're the one with the week off playing the grand final next week.
Yeah, well, obviously, not sure what was going on in the other game. That was last man standing, obviously, with some injuries and some poor selection. Sorry, Willie Rioli, but I'm not sure how you got a game at the MCG versus a defensive team like Melbourne. Mick may live to rue that one. But as for Sugar, I think he just had a bad week. He's a quality team. He had a few guys down. Had he made some selection changes with the optimised lineup, I think the result would have been a lot closer. So I think he'll bounce back. And if Fennick can get guys on the park, it'll be interesting to see how he performs this week as well. So,
who do you think you'll play next week?
Well, I think if I was a betting man, I will play Sugar, but anything can happen. Not sure Nick Dacos will cop a tag off the back of the Brisbane Lions. They may just let him run three. So
they might send Berry there.
Yeah, they could. Particularly with them losing last week, maybe there'll be a little bit more chips in.
Should he go with Jerry as utility or Jerry as ruck?
Well, off the back of last week, you would put him in utility. But that said, Tim English, who's the Bulldogs ruck now?
Well, it's either going to be Darcy or O'Donnell, or Lobb, or Rory Lobb.
Yeah.
So
I think based on last week, he would go utility, but you can't be the prisoner of the moment, can you? Like, he is dominated in the ruck as well. So, don't know. We'll leave that one for him. Cripps versus West Coast. Is for Fennick. Walsh versus West Coast could also be up and about. So they've both got firepower. They'll definitely both bounce back.
Fennick's got Briggs as interchange. He might come in as a tackler. You never know. Yeah. But Sugar, from what I can tell, that same team as last week, so he hasn't adjusted it yet. Because will he keep Walsh as utility? I know he's got Sarong as interchange.
Yeah, I think based on last week, Sugar did his team reasonably late on the Friday. Gave me a little bit of a false avenue. That's where he swapped his utility around. So I would expect Sugar got players tonight. Essendon, I don't think so. And then Sydney, no, he's got no Sydney players. So Sugar's got no guys tonight.
He can play Draper, I think.
Oh, yeah, he could play Draper. All right. So he's got a date with Destiny.
So that depends. He will play Draper if he puts Sherry as utility.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess it's going to be revealed tonight as to which way he's going to go. Either way, I think he'll bounce back. It's just a matter of can he recapture some of his best form, or his bounce back only looking like 350, 360. If it is, Fennick's in the game, because this is the highest scoring
team of the comp, and he's going to get the lowest score.
He still scored 350 last week despite all the injuries.
Well, Fennick's without Mackay, he's without Tracy, he's without May, he's without Warner.
Yeah, so I mean, big effort if he wins. To be
four people that would normally start for him. So
yeah.
All right.
Your Sugar has to be favourite. Like, just purely forget about the ladder, because I think being the highest point scoring team outweighs the ladder. But just in terms of the lineups that they've got to select from, this will be his greatest premiership ever if the Falcons coach pulls this one off, I would suggest. Winning
what you're telling me is that Footywired competition, after, 17 years, I believe, we started in 2007.
Yeah.
It's 2024. You're telling me that Footywired competition, we are going to get a first-time winner next week.
I think so. Yeah, I think based on the fact that I'm already in there, it's not like I have to front up this week. So I'm in there. I've put the score on the board to qualify. And I think Sugar's got a stronger side on paper. Fennick needs a lot more to go right than what Sugar does.
Well, both of you have made a grand final, and both of you have lost a grand final before. So
Fennick's never lost a grand final.
No, both of you have made a grand final and lost. You and Sugar.
Okay. All right. So someone could.
I'm not sure if Fennick has lost a grand final or not. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But he has won it 4 times.
Yeah. Hey, and can we switch play to the member side of the ground? Do you want to hear something pretty interesting?
Do I need to turn the video off for this?
No, you can keep it on. Yeah, you can keep it on. The fantastic Mick. Now, I was flying back from America whilst I was in a battle with the Rangers. And I was in a battle that I was predicted to lose. And I was predicted to
No,
lose.
you should have lost.
I should have lost.
Yeah,
exactly
you got lucky.
Right.
You got lucky
so
because of
let's go back
injuries.
in time and assume that Toronto didn't get injured. And I think I had Trelaw and Ed Richards score about 135 as midfield and follower versus the Sydney Swans at the SCG. So there was all sorts of stuff that lined up for me to
You won by
somehow
about
win.
5, and Toronto got concussed in the second quarter.
He did, let alone my players playing off their nut on Sunday, right? So let's just assume I lost that game, which I really should have. All right, this was a Bradbury moment. Do you know what would have happened with the ladder? Sugar would have been on top. Mick would have been second.
Yeah.
Fennick would have been third. I would have still been fourth based on a superior percentage, and you would have been fifth.
Yep.
Round one, I knock you out. Okay,
you didn't have a good week.
Would have been, it's over 400. It beats you. Round one, Mick actually defeats Fennick.
Yep.
In terms of scores. So Mick goes on to play Sugar in the first qualifying final last week. I go on to play Fennick.
Mick would have beat Sugar.
I would have knocked Fennick out. Mick would have beat Sugar. So it would have been Sugar and I this week for the right to play a well-rested champion.
You know what's even funnier? Is that also in Supercoach, I knocked Mick out last week. And this week, with people having injuries like English and Seasonal and stuff, Mick got knocked out with one trade left and could have had a stronger team than everyone else in the Supercoach comp, and he's knocked out as well.
Wow. So, it's one of those years for Mick, isn't it?
Unlucky Mick.
Very, very unlucky, Mick. You got Bradbury in Footywired in terms of the last round, not the finals. I think my team has shown that they've played good footy in the two finals wins, but in the last round, you got Bradbury by a whole range of circumstances across Rangers and myself, and then it sounds like the same in Supercoach. So, Mick, enjoy the off season, pal.
There we go. All right. Well, thanks very much for your time today. And hope you enjoy watching to see who you'll play in the finals.
Yeah, I'll enjoy it. Good luck with your preview show. And, yeah, let's see what happens between Sugars and Falcons. May the best team win, and we'll look forward to next week.
Cheers, Carly. See ya.
See ya.
There we go. So that's the review. Coltrane, thanks very much for your thoughts. Good luck in next week's grand final. Hope you enjoy watching this week's games. It's Sugar Daddies versus Maltese Falcons for a spot in the grand final. Can we get Maltese Falcons making the grand final and going for their 5th win? Or can we get Sugar Daddies making the grand final, which will bring up a first-time winner in Footywired, which is exciting. So good luck to all teams playing. Once again, there are some other preliminary games which we'll quickly go over to see if there's any outstanding scores on Sunday. But good luck to everyone. Thank you to Coltrane for answering the phone and having a discussion. And no thanks to Sugar and no thanks to Maltese Falcons. But good luck this week, guys. All right, see yous.